Hi, James.
Hi, Nicola. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Good. James Thomas. I've got Nicola Buck, Chief Marketing Officer for Castrol. I'm gonna let her tell us some exciting news. Don't you have some exciting news, Nicola?
I do have exciting news, James. So last week, I was lucky enough to go to Kennedy Space Center where I watched a rocket head off to the south pole of the moon. And this is really exciting for a number of reasons. Firstly, no one has ever been to this part of the moon before, so we are going to be uncovering lots of new information, we hope. But also, the every part of this mission was funded by a commercial company. So the rocket, the lander, and the rover. And that means that we're starting to see more and more space exploration take place because of new technologies and costs coming down. So it's a really exciting time to be exploring. Castrol has been involved because we are co-research partners with MIT Media Lab, and we have worked with them on their little Astroant, which is a micro robot, which is going to help carry out some of these experiments on the south pole of the moon. So really exciting news, James, and really exciting time for space exploration.
You know what? It was kind of interesting because that was going to be my next question. Is tell us a little bit about Astro Ant, which is the size of a toy car.
Yeah, right. I don't know if you can see me, but it is a tiny little micro robot from developed by MIT Media Labs, and it's about 2 centimeters square. And the idea eventually from MIT Media Labs is that you would have a swarm of these robots who could go out over rocket ships and things like that. And if you can operate something this small, it's much easier to send one out to collect data that could help repair or optimize the operations of spacecraft and rockets in the future, and thus unlocking ease of that kind of thing. Now, Castrol has worked really closely with MIT Media Lab, and we provide the space grade lubricants and greases that go in the little wheels and help to make sure that it can operate in conditions on the south pole of the moon. Now, to unlock that, we first of all took it to Lanzarote, which is an island off the coast of Spain, chosen because of the volcanic nature of that island. And so the surface of Lanzarote mimics the moon. And we worked with MIT Media Labs and Lunar Outpost on a research visit to make sure it was going to work, learn from that before it went off to the lunar south pole. So yeah, the conditions up there are pretty bad, James, down to minus 400 degrees Fahrenheit, moon rocks, chemicals because of the thin atmosphere on the moon. And so the Castrol products have to be really specially designed to work in those harsh conditions and make sure that the robots like this one can operate in future.
Now, the other question I have for you is this: it's taking soil samples and drilling in the moon's surface. What do you hope to find?
Yeah. So eventually, the belief is that there is water ice to be found on the south pole of the moon. The conditions there are so cold and sheltered from light that all the science would suggest that's what we will find. Now, we've never actually found it. And so these missions and these experiments are all eventually in service of finding water ice, which could unlock all sorts of secrets for the future of space exploration. So if you can find water, obviously that's interesting, but also the hydrogen in H2O could potentially power rockets in the future. So there are all lots of experiments that help unlock that. And the MIT Media Labs ANT, powered by Castrol's lubricants, will has a specific mission to get data on the rover's health. So it will be moving up and down the rover, taking temperature readings that we can use to optimize the performance of the rover from back here on Earth. And it's a proof of concept. We'll be doing it now and in future missions to prove out that this technology can work and that the Castrol products can operate successfully in that lunar environment.
All right, tell us a little bit about the mothership Athena.
Yeah, so Athena is the name of the rover, and the rover is due to do the things you talked about, collect the soil samples, maybe drilling, map the surface of the moon, and it carries this little astro ant from MIT Media Lab. So this will be on top of the mothership, and helping to optimize the performance of that mothership by checking its, in this case, checking its temperature and make sure that the thermal parts of it are continuing to work at the right level. So yeah, really exciting journey for all the parts of the mission.
Now I got one more question for you, and it's a little interesting. From beginning to end, how long did this take as far as the project is concerned? Getting started, assembling everything, sending it up to the moon, and where we are now. What are we looking at?
Yeah. It's years worth of work. So we've been research partners with MIT for the last 18 months, but they've been working on it long before that. And space missions like this take years and years worth of work. A typical space grade product like this for us would take somewhere in the realm of 4 to 5 years to test and get to market. And then it's a constant set of iterations. And Castrol's actually been involved in space for 6 decades, right? The original Apollo missions, the rovers that have been to Mars. And every time one of those takes place, we learn more and more to optimize it for the future. Space is a big unknown place. And so each mission does take time and effort to perfect and get things working. And sometimes things work, sometimes they don't, but we learn something new every time that gets us that much closer to some of the visions of space exploration that we all have.
Wow. I've been speaking with Nicola Buck, Chief Marketing Officer for Castrol. Thank you so much for joining us on Morning Blend and telling about this great mission on the moon. Thank you.
Thank you.